Hi guys, welcome back to the Camping Loop. Today we're going to talk about 5 things you guys could be doing to save a little bit of cost of repairs on your RVs. The list certainly isn't limited to 5 things. These are just things that we make sure we do every year, typically before we put the camper away for winter storage. There's a whole nother list of things we do in the springtime, but these are things that we like to make sure we get done at least once a year. It's going to save you guys time and money in the long run. It's going to make your equipment last longer and things of that nature. So let's jump right into it and see what we got for number 1. All right guys, first thing we're going to talk about is tires. We all know how expensive they can be. We want them to last as long as possible. One of the biggest things you can do, especially storing it for over the winter time, is make sure your tires are inflated to the right pressure. We actually learned this lesson the hard way a few years back. After sitting all winter long, what ended up happening was the weight on the camper, the tires lost a little bit of air, and you'll actually end up getting like dry rot or cracks on the sidewall. Not so much the tread, but where the weight has been sitting on it, that could be an issue. So we want to make sure that the tires are pumped up correctly. I always carry a tire pressure gauge with me. We're going to check those, get those set to the right pressure, and then we're going to get some protectant on them because they're going to be sitting here all year. Let me get set up and we'll show you how we do that. Alright guys, I got the gauge outside. It was a little bit low, not too bad. We're going to throw some air in them. We already got them protected. We'll hit the other side and then we'll show you the next step. Got the tires all aired up, protected the way that they should be for the winter time. Next thing we're going to do is talk about lubricating the things on the camper that need to be done. I already know that my stabilizer jacks definitely need it, the way that they're squeaking and squawking. A couple other places you want to check would maybe be your tongue jack and any slide outs you have on the camper. We don't have slide outs on this one here, but you certainly want to make sure that you're hitting either the tracks or whatever system that's on, and also your slide seals. So you want to make sure you're using like a silicone based lubricant for your slide seals. I'll do my best to find a video or a picture or something on there and throw that up there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let me get set up with my jacks here. We'll start there, we'll grease everything up, and then we'll go on to the next step. So this is what I'm talking about. Just obnoxious more than anything else. Use like a white lithium grease on these. You can buy it at anywhere, Home Depot or hardware store or anything like that. We're going to get all 4 corners of these greased up. We're going to check the tongue jack, get that greased up, and then we'll show you guys the next step. You guys can hear that that's already way better. Alright guys, we all know how much an awning can cost, how expensive they can be to replace. One of the simple things you can do is we like to make sure ours is cleaned real well before it's put away for winter time. And then we also go through and kind of grease up all these joints and hinges and stuff like that to make sure everything's functioning well. I have a power washer set up here today. Obviously I wouldn't recommend using a power washer. I do it for a living, so we have it on a real low setting where we're not going to cause any issues or damage or things like that. You know, obviously at home, garden hose, scrub brush, that sort of thing would work. We just like to use like Dawn dish soap and a little cap full of bleach. Helps get rid of some of these stains and marks off of here. Keep these fabrics in good shape, guys. They cost a lot of money to replace. We're going to get that set up now. We'll get it washed, and then I'll show you how we grease up all the arms. Alright guys, awning's looking good, all the streaks off of it, cleaned up real well. Now that that's done, what I like to do is lube up all these points. Just a little bit here. We're using like a silicone spray here. If you're going to use WD-40 or something like that, it might track dust and actually cause more of an issue, so be careful with that. But I like to just kind of go around and hit all these spots, especially where that metal bar is there, to help kind of roll everything in. We will hit this side just real carefully. You don't need a lot of this stuff. You know where all these moving parts are here. And that's going to go a long way with as far as helping you guys keep your arms in good shape and your hardware. Fabric's one thing, but if you got to replace a motor or arms or hardware or stuff like that, it gets really expensive. So we're going to go around, lube everything up here. Going to take just a minute, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, guys, back here at the front of the camper, we're going to talk about a couple things up here that I see people kind of forgetting to maintain or take care of. It's going to be your breakaway cable. This cable here is obviously designed to apply the trailer brakes in the event that this comes unattached while we're towing down the road. There's really not so much as far as maintaining it. It's more of kind of just testing it every year. It's a really good idea. A couple things you want to keep in mind. It is going to run off your 12-volt system, so your battery, we got to make sure that that's charged up. It's really a good idea to make sure it's charged up every time before you tow anywhere, just in case this does happen. I'm going to walk you guys through how to test this. It's a very simple process. First thing we're going to do is get everything hooked up on the trailer. I am not going to hook up my sway bars just because we're not really going down the road anywhere, and that's going to be a time saver. So we got the breakaway cable applied here. You can see it runs all the way down. Now mine is underneath the trailer frame. I know it's really hard to see. I'll try to get a better shot for you. But we're going to just physically unplug this ourselves. And what should happen once we get this hooked up, once we put the vehicle into drive, these trailer brakes should be applied and this camper shouldn't move anywhere. We know if it does pull away and pull forward that we have an issue going on with that system and we need to have it serviced. So let me get this hooked up. We're going to pop the truck into drive, see what happens here, and we'll go from there. Good news, we got the truck in drive now. The brakes did apply themselves, so we know that that system's working okay. Again, if this was able to roll away at all, you want to go ahead and have this thing serviced probably before you go out on your next trip, because that system's not working the way that it should. And guys, the last thing we're going to talk about up front is some battery maintenance. This isn't something that you want to be sitting around, let sit around all winter long. Certainly we think about disconnecting the battery, taking it either home or somewhere you can put it on a trickle charger to keep that good. Batteries are expensive. We replaced ours last year. I think it was $189 for the battery, which isn't something you guys want to be doing every year. So we always take ours home. Make sure you throw it on like a trickle charger or something like that. You know, also make sure you guys aren't storing your batteries on the concrete floor at home. That's going to drain them more than anything. Put a piece of board underneath there or a shelf or something that get it up off the ground. We're going to show you how we disconnect the battery here. It's pretty simple stuff, pretty straightforward. Make sure you guys are doing the negative cable first. So I think pretty much all of these are going to have this case on them. You just kind of undo your thing that's holding the top down there. I always like to start with the negative terminal first, give those a twist, get that disconnected. Sorry, trying to do this one-handed here for you guys. Like I said, the price of batteries, almost $200. This is something that you guys probably want to make sure that you don't forget about. I know a lot of people go to get their rigs out of storage in the wintertime and they come to hook up their power jacks and they're completely dead and the batteries are shot. So another thing you guys probably want to do is make sure you're putting your nuts back on here. We don't want to lose those. All right, guys, that's really about it. This is another 5 simple things you guys could be doing. It's going to save you time, energy, hassle, and money. This is all simple stuff that I think pretty much anybody could do. Again, the list isn't limited to 5 things. We have a whole nother set of lists for springtime. What we do is that as far as, you know, roof maintenance and sealing and things of that nature. We appreciate you guys watching very much. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. You're going to find a lot of helpful RV tips here. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer anything I can for you. Appreciate you guys watching very much, and we'll see you next week.